So first thing that we're going to be doing is going over registration and protocols. We're going to take about 10 minutes going through that section. We're going to be talking about the dates for registration. We're going to be talking about some of the protocols that are in place specifically for this Nationals. We're also going to be talking about the different rules for Nationals when it comes to WAG, MAG, and TNT. And then, like I said, at the end, we're going to have a section in there for about 5 to 10 minutes for Q&A. Either questions that have been submitted on Instagram prior to this, or questions that people have written in the chat, or anyone that would like to chime in and ask something themselves. All right. So Jenny was going to join us from Nationals to talk about the registration process. She's not able to join us just yet. So I'm going to start us off talking about the different dates that have been available. First one, the early bird.
Hey, Dane, do you want to screen share?
Is that screen shared?
No.
That's almost embarrassing.
There you go.
Goodness gracious. We have these beautiful slides and no one even got to see them yet. Okay. So the registration dates, early bird has already passed. The regular registration is going to be closing on the 21st of this month, and then the late registration, which only opens on the 22nd, closes March 7th. But what that means are that there are different fees that are attached to each of these. So we wanted to make sure that we included this slide here for you so that you saw the differences in pricing depending on what it is that you chose to do and when you ended up signing up for it. So you can see the prices that are for the individual decathlon, individual TNT, team MAG and WAG, and the banquet. Team MAG and WAG. Those three have just the standard and the late fees. The early bird that you could save on was applicable just to the individual MAG and WAG.
Yeah, Amanda wrote in the chat here that that's really important to note, that the prices are determined by when you pay, not when you sign your team up to teams on the website or register them. It's all via when you pay your fees. So the earlier you pay, the better.
Thank you. Okay. As far as protocols for this Nationals, the NAIGC is requiring a proof of vaccination for competitors and attendees as part of the registration process. So we're going to continue to monitor the pandemic, the requirements, because they may be subject to change based on guidelines. This is a very evolving process even now. We want to try to keep that in mind as we're moving forward. And if there is anything that changes, we will certainly let the membership know as soon as we can.
And for the time being, the only thing we can definitively say is that we are requiring proof of vaccinations for competitors. Any other protocols or mitigation strategies that will be at Nationals are still being determined right now by our COVID-19 task force and our Nationals team in coordination with our legal advisor. We are working on how Nationals is actually going to be run, what protocols are going to be taken, what kind of safety measures, including spectators. So that is still TBD at the moment. We will notify you guys when we get that information, and we will probably hold a town hall just like this to disseminate that information a little more clearly.
That being said, all registration fees are refundable. So if you would like to request a refund, we're asking people to email the treasury at naigc.org with your order number, including the purchaser name and the items that you wish to have refunded along with this. We're also encouraging members to purchase insurance on flights and to book refundable lodging. With everything that has been evolving with the COVID-19 situation, doing things like this is just smart practice that we're trying to help the membership with.
If you want any more information about nationals, a lot of it is on this nationals webpage. You can notice in the bottom left, we have a QR code to the nationals website. It's linked on the NAIGC website, but that has pretty much any information that you could want or need regarding nationals this year. So as far as WAG for 2022 nationals, again, a lot of the information is updated on the website as far as what rules will be in place. So right now for 2022 nationals and all events with the NAIGC are offering 5 different levels this year. So we previously at 2019 nationals had NAIGC developmental, level 7, 8, and 9. And then this year we also went ahead and added level 6. So there are now 5 levels that you can compete. All of those rules are specified in that WAG rules document that again is on the WAG rules page on the website, as well as lots of other information that may be helpful to you in maybe creating routines or kind of figuring out how you might be judged as far as things, especially for nationals. So it's all linked in the website. At the end, if you guys do have any specific questions, more than happy to answer all of that.
MAG rules. So you can get all of the information that I'll talk about here and the details on all of our policies, the nationals rules format, and many great resources for gymnasts on the website, naigc.org/men's rules. And you can navigate there from the top of the website. Dane, if you go to the next slide. So competition overview, the overall competition structure is the same as in 2019 for anybody that was back at that nationals in Daytona. All the competitive sessions will be conducted using a warm-up compete format. So you warm up an event and then compete it rather than a general warm-up and then competing all of the events. So you get 12 minutes on each event to warm up. And then as necessary, you can bump touch in between routines. So that's where after an athlete has finished while they're getting judged, somebody can jump up or multiple people can jump up and use the equipment until the judge says, okay, I'm done, time for the next routine. And there will be 2 judges judging each event. In prelims, all levels can be combined within a given session. So a session and a rotation don't have to be all of the same level. So that way teams can rotate together even if they have their members split across multiple levels. And each team can have up to 8 individuals compete on a given event for a given team, and 3 scores count. So that team being the competitive team in a given level. For finals, qualification is based on level and awards categories. Numbers are proportional to registration. So if we have way more people registered for level 9 than modified NCAA, then or vice versa, then it'll be modified the number of people that make it to finals. We're guaranteeing qualification of a certain amount into finals for modified NCAA to make sure that we have some of the top gymnastics highlighted in finals. For level 9, if fewer than 50 athletes are registered for any single event, or if fewer than 8 teams are registered, then finals may not be offered. And we'll announce this 1 week after registration closes at the latest. Each team may have up to 4 individuals compete on a given event in finals. 3 scores count, so 4 up, 3 count. But if you have fewer than that, that's also fine. Lineups have to be handed into the head table at least an hour and a half before the start of the competition so that we can get everything into our system on time and run the meet smoothly. Rotation assignments are automatically determined based on prelim placements. And once the first competitor signals the head judge you can't change your lineup. And for awards, the number of awards in each category are going to be the number of participants in finals divided by 2, rounded up, so that we're not having to go to prelim scores, and we're awarding kind of a reasonable number of people out of finals. Next. Just to quickly go over the level offerings, we've got developmental, which is designed for beginners new to the sport, kind of 1 to 3-ish years of training. Level 9 is for people that maybe have a little bit of experience before starting collegiate or where they're at, or have more than 3 to 5 years of experience. And modified NCAA is kind of our top tier, offering similar rules to the NCAA and FIG rules. So you've got to have, or you should have, a lot of experience or have dedicated some serious time to the sport in order to be competitive in this level. But obviously anybody can choose any level that suits their desires and needs. And awards categories, we split things up by collegiate and community. So collegiate is if you're a current student at a university. Community is everybody else. And if 25 or more females are participating in MAG on any single event in a level, then a separate awards category will be created for women in MAG. So again, you can participate in any event or discipline regardless of your gender. And we're trying to allow for, if there are a lot of people kind of acknowledging that, although in the past we have not quite reached this, but who knows for this year. Next. Updates in terms of changes from last year, but really 2019. We're specifying finals qualification is based on level and awards categories. That's a slight change. The metrics we made clear this year for the number of qualification spots into finals, that carve out for women in MAG that I just mentioned. Finals rotation assignments have not always been automated. Sometimes people have been able to request a certain starting event, but that really makes the job of the person doing that rotation creation quite difficult, and a lot of stress on them to get that ready if people are changing it up to the last moment. Bump touch hasn't been explicitly allowed in the past. And to be clear, we are adding, if masks are required at the event, then there will be a mask bonus of 1/10 per event for athletes who compete with an eligible mask. So that's to give a slight incentive for people to take the COVID precaution, and also to acknowledge the fact that if you are competing with a mask, then it is slightly more difficult to hit all your stuff. So 1/10 seems like a good place to balance, not so much that it's going to give a huge advantage to people, but enough to acknowledge the impact that it does have.
To be clear, this is if masks are required but not well performing gymnastics.
Right. Thanks.
And also, just to clarify as well, we are currently developing a modified tier structure for COVID policies for nationals specifically. Right now, we have a tier structure for sanctioning individual meets. So if you have a meet, say in the Midwest, we're looking at incident rates and vaccination rates for the states in the Midwest, and giving a color designation on our tier list based off that. But because nationals is a national event, meaning people are traveling in from multiple regions, we're modifying that tier list just a little bit, and what that looks like for nationals, whether masks will be required at certain points during the day, whether or not we're going to have certain restrictions or not. It all just depends on how the pandemic situation is looking like closer to nationals. We're hoping that it will get better as we get further into the year.
And there's a question in the chat whether the mask bonus was just for MAG, but it's for all disciplines across the meet. So MAG, WAG, and TNT. All right. Pop any other questions you have in the chat. Happy to answer.
Yeah, many of those same policies that Nate mentioned also apply to WAG. I can speak more to those at the end as well, just didn't have the slides quite ready, quite finalized. But as far as TNT, we are going to be offering TNT at Nationals this year. That finally got approved this past week, so we can confirm that. And there are 3 different levels and 4 different events that athletes can compete in. So the four events are individual and synchronized trampoline. That's 2, double mini trampoline, and power tumbling. So at 2019 Nationals, NAIGC only offered power tumbling. 2020 was supposed to have all 4 events, but unfortunately that event ended up being canceled due to COVID. So this will be the first year that NAIGC is offering competition in all 4 events at Nationals. So the rules for all 4 events are linked on the website. It's naigc.org /trampoline and tumbling. And so all that information is on there. There are 3 levels. So there's new flyers, which is basically geared towards those that are basically new to gymnastics as a whole. So competition generally tops out at a single salto for the trampoline event. So both individual and synchro tramp, as well as double mini, and maxes out at handsprings for power tumbling. So there is a maximum DD, or basically a difficulty score, that you can compete in that level, as well as some routine requirements. Intermediate flyers is geared towards those that generally have some knowledge in gymnastics. Maybe they're coming from artistic and have some body awareness as far as how gymnastics goes. So there are still DD maxes. They're obviously a little bit higher. Basically, it maxes out at front and back fulls as far as trampoline, double mini, and power tumbling. And there are also some skill requirement or some routine requirements just to make sure that you're following proper progressions. And then our highest level is for high flyers, generally people that are experienced in trampoline and tumbling. And this level does not have any difficulty maximums, but it does have some difficulty minimums. So generally you're looking at a routine that has several saltos in it for trampoline, and then probably double flipping skills on both double mini and power tumbling. So all of the rules, as mentioned, are on the website. And if you have any specific questions, you can feel free to reach out. Oh, I forgot to put more slides in here. You can go ahead and click. Oh, it didn't update. Never mind. I put slides in while we were talking, but it's fine. So there's more information on the TNT website. And like I mentioned, feel free to ask any questions in the chat or at the end.
So as a quick reminder to those of you who may not have been there, didn't know about it, we did have a previous town hall meeting that went over the details on how to register for nationals for 2022. We also went into more information about event sanctioning and the COVID guidelines. That took place back in October, but a lot of that information is obviously still relevant. So if you have a chance to go and watch that, we did upload that to YouTube. Like I said, it has a lot of information that would be relevant to this. If you have questions about it, I encourage you to utilize that as a resource.
It has a pretty thorough walkthrough on how to register your competitors, your teammates for nationals. So I highly recommend looking at that prior to emailing info@. But if you still have problems after watching the video, go ahead and shoot us an email. So on that same thread, if you guys are having issues accessing your club account on our registration.naigc.org website, meaning you don't have access to registering anybody or changing any of the information for your club, and you are the appropriate person for your club to have that access, either A, see if anybody else in your club already has access, maybe from past seasons. If you can't get a hold of anybody, or if you're the leader of a brand new club, just email us info@ with your contact information and the club name, and we'll give you guys admin privileges. But if there is somebody in your club that's already an admin, just talk to them and they can give you admin access.
Okay, so a handful of questions were submitted on Instagram prior to us starting the town hall. First question, will gymnasts be required to wear masks while competing? We answered this a little bit as we were going through.
Yeah, so I would say the TLDR is probably going to be I don't want to say yes because it depends on the COVID situation. If we get to April and it seems like everything is all hunky-dory in terms of COVID, and we don't need to require masks because the incidence rates in the country and the vaccination rates are good enough to deem it safe, based off of our COVID-19 task force in consultation with our legal advice and our medical professionals that we have on staff here. But we are implementing, if there are going to be required masks, that we're going to give the 1/10 bump bonus, just to encourage people to be safe and wear masks to help mitigate the spread of COVID. We don't want nationals to become a vector for any more COVID-19 spread or infections. We want to be as safe as possible. So if we are in a situation where we're going into nationals and the COVID situation in terms of incidence rates and vaccination rates are still relatively high in the country, we will be asking you to wear masks while competing, but we will find out that information a little closer to the date.
Thank you. Question number 2, is there still TNT this year? Yes, just based on the information that Amanda was able to provide us, there is still TNT. Number 3, it seems like the only awards where college and community athletes would be mixed would be on the community team side of things, since they could have both athletes or athletes from both categories. Is that a correct interpretation?
Yes, that's correct. So athletes, their status is automatically determined if they're community or collegiate based on how they answer in registration, whether they're a student or not. So when they're competing as an individual, they would either be collegiate or community, and there would be no mixing. So it is only when they're on a team where there's both that the team would automatically be community.
Thank you. Did we have any questions in the chat that didn't get answered? And also at this time, if there's any participants who would like to ask a question as well, this would be the time to do it.
If you do end up also having any questions after this, feel free to email us at info@naigc.org.
I would say
one thing I want to
go ahead.
One thing I want to add. Oh, sorry. I was going to add. I don't know if you have a question or not, but I know right now we have the link for volunteering in the bio of our Instagram, and it should have been sent out to teams as well. So if you guys have the ability to volunteer at nationals, we're really looking for volunteers. So please sign you and your team up if you can.
I was just going to give a common question that we often get when teams are registering. So on the website, there are a couple different team fees that are listed. So the team fee that was listed on the very first or one of the first slides is if you want to be eligible for a team award. So that is level by level per club. So say you are a club and you have a level 9 team that has, let's say, 10 athletes, a level 8 team that has 8 athletes, and a developmental team that has 2 athletes. In general, a team score requires 3 people per event to get a full team score. So in this scenario, you would likely want to have your level 9 and level 8 teams be eligible for a team award and therefore paying that team fee. Whereas you probably wouldn't necessarily want or need to register or pay the team fee for your developmental team because they would not be eligible for a team award because of the fact that they don't have enough scores. That is a choice up to each individual team, but it is something to note. And by paying that team fee, you still do have to pay individual registrations for every athlete on that team. I hope that made sense to everyone. Yeah, like Julia said, we have had teams in the past where they've ended up technically qualifying to finals or being eligible or qualifying for a team award, but because they did not end up paying that team fee, they weren't able to receive that award and basically essentially got skipped over in awards or finals.
Are there any other questions? If not, at this time, we just want to give a reminder, we do have additional resources for the membership. You can email info@naigc.org or nationals@naigc.org if you have specific questions, but also we have office hours where we offer this same opportunity for people to come on, ask questions, get them answered in real time. And we have the dates for those right there for you. If there's something that in a day or two you think about and you want to be able to have someone answer it, that's what I encourage you to reach out and try to do. We try to make sure that we have as many opportunities for the membership to get things answered as possible to make it easier for you to understand.
And if you have any rules specific questions, you can also email rules@naigc.org as well.
But if there aren't any other questions with that, that concludes the town hall. I'd like to thank those who were able to come and help present for rules and the nationals team to help put this together. Like I said, if you do end up, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you guys are watching this on YouTube after we have posted this online, you can access all these links and of course email us at info@. We will be available to answer your guys' questions. I know a lot of you guys are gonna be watching this on YouTube afterwards.
All right.
Looking forward to seeing everyone at Nationals.
Woohoo.
See y'all soon. Bye.
Have a good night, folks.
You could probably stop recording it now.
I'm working on it.
Okay.